Hello and good evening. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Michaiah Dominguez. I am a therapist and relationship scientist. I am going to start in just a few minutes, but I'm giving people an opportunity to be here. So when you come in, just drop your name. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, drop where you're from. I'd love to greet you. I'm going to get started promptly at 7:05. And until then, y'all already know I'm on my social media platforms to make sure that people are here and join us. I will be sharing this live stream after it is done so that you can share it, you can rewatch it, you can take notes. I'm very excited about this because it's been a long time since I've done something where I am teaching. So, right now, I'm just getting into the habit of speaking again. It's been a few days since I've gone live on anything or had any sessions. So, I am practicing, taking my time because the New Yorker in me wants to rush and talk really fast. I'm practicing some of the Georgia in me now since I have been living here almost a year and slowing down the pace a little bit. So while I'm waiting for you guys to join, I will be starting in just 3 minutes. I thank you so much for your patience with me. I'm sharing out the link to make sure everyone is here and we're all settled in so that I can get started on emotional intelligence. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys. We'll be hanging in here until about 8:30. So there's time to grab something to drink, grab a pen and paper. You might want to take some notes. So I'll be with you in just 2 minutes. In the meantime, I would have played music, but YouTube don't play. YouTube will report this thing so fast and take the video down so fast. I don't want that to happen. So I will not be playing music this evening, but I am excited about talking to you in just a few. So you'll just have to watch me in silence while I share out the link and make sure that everyone is here. I do need to silence my alerts because, of course, I'm going to get text upon text right now while I am talking to you, and I don't want it to be a distraction. So let me just take care of all of that right now. All right, we're gonna put everything on do not disturb. I think that would be the wisest thing to do so that I don't get any notifications at all. Gonna take care of that. And probably by the time I'm done doing that, it'll be time to get started. Okay. So do not disturb. We are actually, let's see. Privacy and security. I'm very excited. The countdown, the countdown. Okay. Matter of fact, I'll just put it on airplane mode just to make sure nothing comes through at all. Is that fair? I think it is. I think it is. And people will be all right. If they can't get to me in the next few minutes, it'll be fine. It'll be just fine. So it looks like we're just a few seconds away, and I have shared out the link, and folks are welcome to join at any time. If you are here and you believe that someone else could use this information, it will be a great time to share as well before I start digging in. But for the sake of time, and because I am going to post this replay, I am going to get started right about now. Okay. My name is Michaiah Dominguez. As I've said, I'm a therapist and relationship scientist. What does that mean? A relationship scientist is someone who studies the behavior of relationships. And so I am in a PhD program right now at Liberty University. And I am studying to do some research as far as divorce is concerned and what allows people to heal holistically after they divorce. What does that process look like? I know I've been there. I know some of you have also been there. And a lot of my clients have also been through the divorce journey. But there is a difference between those who thrive after divorce and those who still suffer after the divorce. And so I've done a lot of work to put together my research, and I am in the middle of doing that right now. As we speak, the semester is going to start in just a few weeks. So I'm excited about getting back to my classwork. But in the meantime, when I am not a student, I am teaching, doing things like this on podcasts, workshops, webinars, seminars, conferences, and of course, working with my clients one-on-one and with couples. Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Just giving a very brief intro. I would like to actually share my screen to give you the rest of who I am and what I do. So I'll be opening that right now. Let's see if my trial worked. It did. So this is me. I was going to make some slides, but why make slides when you have a website that is comprehensive, right? This is my website, www.michaiah.life. And this is the easiest way to intro me because it says everything that I need to say. So I'm a public figure. I am a therapist, which I just described to you, and as well as an author. I have been seen on MTV. We are about 7 episodes in at this point on Teen Mom Family Reunion season 3. We are doing a couples season for the first time. The Teen Mom franchise in its 15-year history decided that we were going to focus on couples work and actually do some deep diving and give practical skills to the couples who have been featured on the show for quite some time. So we're learning the couples in a new way. And there are 2 hosts for the first time in the series as well. Myself, along with Dr. Mike Dow, we both take the couples through boot camp type exercises with groups. We've split them up between men and women, and we also have the couples sessions with them. So starting next week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, streaming on MTV and all your live stream services, we will be also adding some singles to the mix. So we're doing couples work, but we're also touching base with some of the Teen Mom fan favorites who are going to be in the building. It was filmed in South America. Very excited about the guests that are joining us in the next few episodes. Also, if you'd like to look on this beautiful website that I created myself, I have a YouTube channel recently launched, and I'm so grateful for the support that I've gotten so far. This is the first of the LIFE Livestream Series. I wanted to create this YouTube channel to be a university of sorts where I'll be sharing myself as a resource. I understand that not everyone has availability or the budget to work with me one-on-one or with couples work. Not everyone is going to be in the same city or state that I'm in to be able to join me at a live event. And so I'm making this YouTube channel so that I can bring you events like this, where I am a resource sharing with you for free, sharing with you some tips and tools that you will be able to apply as soon as we get off of this live stream. So I do invite you to have a pen, a paper. I'm old school, so that's the way I take notes. But if you have another means of note taking, if you're going to do it with your phone or on a laptop, a tablet, I invite you to do so, because there will be some time to reflect, to ask questions, to learn a little bit, and to vibe together. Okay, so that is the YouTube channel. TikTok is where it all started. I began on my social media journey many moons ago, but it wasn't until TikTok found me and invited me to be a part of the live creator, or actually before I was a partner with the live streaming program, I was actually a creator partner for the teaching content that they were promoting in 2020. So I joined the TikTok community, made a profile, and I've gotten immense support since then. I am truly grateful, because TikTok is how MTV found me. TikTok is how every single one of my clients with Michaiah Life Services has found me and gotten on board. So I'm grateful to TikTok forever for allowing me to be a partner and to go through several creator programs with them that gave me the information, the tools and training to be able to create content for you guys to watch and enjoy and share. Lastly, as a part of this very brief introduction, because I want to keep on moving, I have the Amazon logo here. By the way, on the website, all of these icons are clickable. You can click each one. The MTV logo is going to lead you to the Teen Mom official page on the MTV website. The YouTube logo, of course, will lead you right here to the channel. For those of you who have not yet subscribed, you have the opportunity to do that through the website as well. TikTok, of course, will lead you to my TikTok page, and you can check out all the content I've made over the years. And this last link, Amazon, the reason that it's there is because I am an author. I don't talk about this very often, but I did author 2 mental health informed journals, and they are guided journals. So there are prompts, there are questions, there are some exercises in there for you. The first that I published is called After the Divorce. if you were here in the first few minutes, you know that as a relationship scientist, I am studying social psychology and studying the process of what makes a divorce journey a healthy one and recovery from divorce a healthy one so that you could still live and thrive after a divorce. And so the journal was birthed in 2020, but it already gave me insight as to what I was going to be studying when I did enroll in the PhD program. And so this first journal after the divorce is what I published to be able to support those who were going through the process or had gone through the process but never fully processed the process. After that, I published another guided mental health informed journal called It's Personal. And I have a special announcement about that toward the end of this live stream. So, with the Amazon logo, you can click and you can join over on Amazon to see the two journals. It's also, all of this is found in my link tree as well. But that's a little bit about who I am and what I currently do. As far as where I got started, I began my therapist journey working with substance abuse recovery. And these men, my guys, as I lovingly call them, was located in Astoria, Queens, New York. And I was working with these men to find housing, to find jobs, and to reestablish their lives. So, with this first job that I had as a therapy intern, I was able to see the power of therapy. And because I didn't have much training, I also got to see the power of genuine care, concern, and relationship. And the reason that my guys really rocked with me is because they could tell that I sincerely cared about them and their progress. And that's something that I've kept with me throughout my entire career. It's that I maintain unconditional positive regard for my clients, that I sincerely care, and that I'm willing, able, and ready to show up for my clients in whatever capacity they need me. So for some, I'm a mentor. For others, I'm a coach. For others, I'm accountability. For others, I am the what you would think traditionally of a therapist, where we sit and we talk about our past and we talk about feelings and we process those things. So that is where I started. And that's how I've maintained my career, through the genuine care and concern for all of my clients and for audiences like you. If you're watching tonight or if you watch the replay, I do actually care about your well being, about your relationship with yourself, and about your relationship with others. So, this is what I'm doing tonight. Why am I going to do the Life Livestream Series? Because I want to make myself available to those who may not have any other touch point with me on or off screen. So here we are, getting ready to get into the first topic. And this particular topic is something that I absolutely love. If you've ever had a session with me, and if you ever do plan on having a session with me, be prepared to get into emotional intelligence, because the issue that I have with folks, whether they're doing a one-on-one session or a couple session, is that they are not aware yet of how they feel, what they want, what they need. Let me make it personal for you. When I'm meeting with you, I help you get clear on where you're at, what you're feeling, what you want, and what you need. Because what I have encountered in sessions with multiple clients throughout my career is that people are oftentimes confused within themselves about those very things. What I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I want, and what I need is not always so clear. And one of the biggest reasons that I found this out is because, or one of the biggest ways it shows up, is because we don't have the language to describe and define where we're at and how we feel. So, when we have the frustration of trying to express ourselves and effectively communicate with our loved ones, whether that's a friend, whether that's a family member or a romantic partner, someone we're dating, trying to get to know, even on the job, in our careers, with our colleagues, our peers, or management, or employees, we may have difficulty because we have not identified, labeled, and been able to give some language to what we're thinking and how we're feeling. So, tonight, we're getting into emotional intelligence, and we're looking at introspectively how we can define where we're at and how we feel, so that at the end of this exercise, you will be able to have enhanced language and be able to share what you're thinking and feeling, what you're requesting, and what you need from those people who are in your lives. Let's get into a definition. Come on, check out the handy little card, the postcard that I made, because I love to talk. So if I didn't have something that kept me in check, I would just be talking all night long, freestyling, do on TikTok which isn't a problem. But I think for these sessions, these live streams in the series, I want to be a little bit more structured than I usually am. So let's first define emotional intelligence. Okay, the capacity to be aware of, be in control of, and express one's emotions. Now, let's break that definition down before I get to part two. So, the capacity to be aware of. This is the part where most of the confusion comes in. I don't even know what I feel. When we're in a heightened emotional state, it may be very cloudy. You may feel overwhelmed. Or if you think of a ball of yarn, how it's all messed up. Not when you go to the craft store like Michael's or Joann's and it's nice and neat and put together, packaged perfectly. I'm talking about when you've already unraveled it, or a cat gets to it, or your pet gets to it, or your child gets to it, and it's all mangled up together and it's a big mess. You know that you have feelings, you know that things are feeling overwhelming, but you're not able to really pinpoint what exactly you feel or where you're at because there's so much coming at you at once. And this is especially true the older we get with the more responsibilities we have. You have work and you might have a spouse and you may have children, you have parents, you have all of these things on your mind, friendships, social life, your intellectual well-being, your finances. If all those things are going on at the same time, then you're juggling not just one messy ball of yarn, but several. And while all those things are swirling, it can be really hard. Even right now, this is distracting. It can be really hard with all those things on your mind to figure out, what do I want to have a conversation about? I know I need to sit down and talk to this loved one. I know I need to address something with a friend. I know that I just got to figure me out. But where do I start? Because there's so many emotions and thoughts swirling around. So, number one in this definition of emotional intelligence is to have the capacity to just have the awareness. Can I separate out all the different balls of yarn, if we're going to keep going with this metaphor? Can I identify all the different life areas that are stressful for me or that are overwhelming for me? Can I name at least those and then begin to unravel each one at a time, to make some sense of what I'm feeling and where the overwhelm is coming from? And we know that once we have that awareness, then we can actually make a plan to move ourselves forward and have some conversations, make an action plan, and take the steps of action that need to be executed to have a better quality of life. Then the second part is to be in control of your emotions. Now, here's where I got the semantics. I don't know how much I like that definition. It's a good starting point, but I wouldn't say to be in control of your emotions. I would say the goal is to not let your emotions control you. And perhaps management, emotional management is a better term. Instead of aiming to control, I got to keep everything under control. That's stressful and anxiety inducing all by itself, as opposed to that being one of the goals of having increased emotional intelligence. Let's instead reframe that, take the pressure off of ourselves to have it perfect and have to have it all under control, and instead think of it as a way to manage your emotions. So I know I have this awareness, and now that I'm unraveling each of the things that are overwhelming in my life, I can put them in its proper place and give attention where it's needed. Do we see how that's a big difference between doing that and trying to control emotions? Trying to control the emotions is where a lot of us get into trouble, because we're trying to convince ourselves of how we should feel. That's where we start shitting on ourselves. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. Thank you. Yes, we get so much into the controlling of a thing that then we detach from actually feeling it and doing something about it. So that is where I don't really agree with that definition. I just Googled it. Y'all can Google it too. But I do appreciate that it says, let's have the awareness. That's step one. Step two, instead of trying to control, this is a gem right here all by yourself. We ain't even get busy yet, but not trying to control your emotions, but managing them. Once you have the awareness, putting things in its proper place, prioritizing appropriately, and then being able to make a plan to do something about how you're feeling and what you're noticing about yourself. Now, this part three in the first section of the definition here is to be able to express your emotions. And this is where people come into couples therapy. Oh, we got to work on communication because we got to express ourselves. We got to work on communication because that's where the problem is, right? Not necessarily. Maybe if we backtrack a little bit, the problem is not with the communication, because we know how to communicate. When we have a clear understanding of what we need to say, I guarantee that 90% of you guys, most of the viewers who will be watching this by replay, and those of you who are here with me live right now, when you know what you want to say, it's clear, it's concise, and you have the skill set to talk. You know how to talk. That's not the issue. Communication may not be the issue, but so many couples come flooding into couples therapy. So many individuals come pouring into therapy saying, I need to learn how to communicate. Maybe if we rewind and retrace our steps, where you got yourself messed up at and where other people got you messed up at, you don't even know how you feel. So we go to the back to the beginning. In order to express your emotions, you have to know what those emotions are. And that is what we're going to be focused on tonight. So the definition, the capacity to be aware of, the management of, and the expression of one's emotions. And to that end, the end game is that you are going to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously. I love that. And empathically. Judiciously and empathically. Judicious just means graciously, fairly. You'll be able to see from more than one perspective. That's where the empathically comes in as well. So you can employ compassion, you can employ self understanding, self respect, implementing boundaries. All those things come after you have the awareness, the management, and the expression of your own emotions. Okay, so we got the definition out of the way. Now we're going to move on. Let me check the time because you know I love talking to y'all. I'm gonna go for another 40 minutes or so, and then we got some Q&A, and I'll bid you all adieu. But now let's take a look at slide number 1. Again, I thought about making all these slides and doing things from scratch and being all fancy, but let me tell you something. Why reinvent the wheel when it already exists? I'm not gonna do that. I'm never gonna do that. If there is a resource, I'm going to direct us there. So let's take a look. There are 4 core competencies when we're thinking about emotional intelligence. And I have a website pulled up to share a little chart with you. So let me go ahead and grab that for you. I'm sharing and I want to see it in the studio. Okay, perfect. So here we are. We have 4 core competencies. We know the definition, but now we get to block it into 4 sections. The first, you'll see right here on the top left, we have self-awareness. Hello, somebody. That's where we're starting. It always begins with you. Self-awareness is going to be key because we have to identify what we're thinking. Being thoughtful of our thoughts, that is an entire process. Metacognition. We got to think about what we're thinking. We have to think about what we're feeling, and we have to be able to feel those feelings. All of that falls into the first core competency of self awareness. Now, directly across from that is social awareness. This is where we start to talk. This is where we're communicating, where we negotiate, where we compromise, and where we make agreements and vows to people who are in our lives. Social awareness, being able to read the room, being able to respond to the room, being able to take ownership and give your energy to the room. All of that is in social awareness. Now, once we go to the bottom left here and we see the cross between self and actions, we have self-management, which we already talked about as far as being able to be aware, yes, but also now manage. What place does this emotion belong? How can I throw it into some category? How can I further develop this idea? Who do I have to talk to? First, let me self soothe. Let me calm down. Then let me identify, who do I need to have a conversation with? What are these feelings? What are they in response to? Let me manage all of that before I jump into action and have a conversation. Now, this is where I used to really struggle in self management. I had the awareness, oh, I know how I feel and I know what I think. But you know where I had a problem? The management piece. Because as soon as I had the awareness, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to jump right into action. Oh, you gonna know. You gonna know that you offended me. You gonna know you made me mad. I'm gonna let you know. And in a way that you're gonna feel that heat. You're gonna feel my anger. You're gonna feel that wrath. And there's nothing you're gonna be able to do to calm me down. As I've matured, I've understood that self management is a part of this next bracket here, relationship management. If I don't manage myself, how am I going to effectively manage a relationship? If I can't self soothe, how could I comfort, be present for someone else in their crisis or in their pain? How could I partner with someone and walk through life with someone if I'm not able to walk with myself? If I'm not able to be aware of myself and manage myself? If I can't deal with my stuff, I'm not going to be able to deal with your stuff. And it is an unfair expectation to think that someone can be in your life and manage your things for you. So a part of maturing, a part of the, leveling up our emotional intelligence is to manage ourselves appropriately, maturely. We've got to be able to do it. So it's more than just coming to the awareness of and then being able to apply that in social settings. It's more than just the self management. But then once I could get myself together, it all starts with me. Once I could get myself together, then I can move to relationship management and have successful, fulfilling, long lasting friendships, long lasting romantic partnerships, have better, healthier, richer family relationships as well. So, those are the four core competencies: self awareness, social awareness, self management, and relationship management. And you see there in the center of this chart that is all interrelated and it goes in every direction, not just one. They all flow together, they all work together to be able to bring you to a fullness of emotional intelligence where you can feel really good about where you're at and feel really good about your connections as well. So let me stop the sharing because I do want to just check in. Thank you so much for being here. Those of you who are popping in and out, sharing the link, writing your comments, I appreciate you being here. We just moved through the definition of emotional intelligence. We just moved through the slide one, where we have the four core competencies of emotional intelligence. And now let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get down to the meat of this thing. And this is where, if you haven't been writing already, I need you to get your pen and pad. I need you to get your technology together because we're going to start moving through a tool that I love, absolutely love to use with all of my clients. And this, again, is a free resource, so we can all use it. But I'm going to walk you through how this can be a successful tool for you to utilize in your day to day and in your relationship management and your self management. So I will share my screen again to bring you to a feelings wheel. Oh my goodness, yes. The feelings wheel. This is a top tier resource. Easy to understand, super reliable. Now, this is where I got to do the work with my clients and with you, my lovely people who are joining me on live. In the middle here is what I like to call our training wheel words. Training wheels words. I'm sad. If you are over the age of 10, we should not be using this language to describe how we feel. If someone asks you, "Are you okay?" "I'm sad." Really? What else? Can we get a little bit more color, texture, and tone to figure out how you're doing and how I could support you? Because sad don't tell me enough. Okay, so training wheels, these are the wheels that, when you're figuring out emotional regulation, when you're figuring out self-regulation, when you're trying to untangle all these things, the training wheels are what keeps you safe. The training wheels are what most people will understand, but not with specificity. The words in the middle are going to be just enough to get you by in hopes to be able to communicate what you need. It's a good starting point, but as we continue to mature and develop, our language gets to develop with us. So, in the middle, training wheel. I'm sad. I'm mad. I'm scared. Okay, that's a good start. And then what? And then what happened and what's going on? And give me some more details about how you're feeling. But usually, what's problematic and what causes a breach in communication in our adult relationships is that the verbiage usually stops right there. So there's not clarity. We're not clear and we cannot agree unless we understand one another. I can't show up for you in response to how you're feeling if I don't quite understand, get it, and fully know what you're feeling. So when we're talking about, well, our family doesn't come to our rescue, our friends don't understand us, our romantic partners never are present with us, maybe it's due to a lack of understanding because our language is elementary. Our language It's foundational. Our language is limited to the training wheels. So tonight, we have the opportunity to take those training wheels off in a safe environment. So nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to be watching you. You get to practice this on your own to expand your language. So at the top middle here, we have sad, mad, and scared. These are the harder feelings to fully describe and flesh out, especially if these feelings are targeted towards someone. It can be really challenging to tell them directly, this is how I feel when I experience you. Now, on the bottom, we have some other words. And I don't call these training wheel words because I don't even hear these words often. Joyful. I feel joyful. That's actually kind of like an intermediate. It's an intermediate word because I don't hear it often. I hear happy, but I don't hear joyful very often. Let's start to incorporate that into our daily language. Powerful. I feel powerful, peaceful. This bottom half is more of the words that where we want to be. Life happens. So you're going to experience the fullness of this chart, but where we want to be. And when I start to ask clients, and I'll ask you, when you think about your relationship with yourself, when you think about your place of employment, your purpose, when you think about all the interpersonal relationships that you have, let's start to focus in on what's on the bottom half of this wheel. How is it that you want to feel when you're in the midst of walking out your purpose? How do you want to feel when you're walking alongside someone, sharing your life with someone? These are the feelings. These are the words that I'd like to pop out at you when you're living your life by design, divine design, to have the life that you truly want. These are the words I want you to live here. Live here in this bottom half of the chart. Okay. So now let's do an exercise. I'd like for the next few moments for you just to take a look. I hope that the image is big enough. I don't know that I can increase it in size, but if you could zoom in, if you could take a close look, get your specs and take a look at the chart. What are 5 words that jump out at you right now about describing where you are in your life? How do you feel about you and your current life circumstance? What 5 words pop out at you right now? I'm actually going to put that in the chat as well so that it could live here for the people who watch by replay. What are the 5 words that pop out to you and describe how you feel about yourself, your life, and your relationships? And I hope that you are taking a look as I'm typing. I hope so. I don't want to rush you. I want to give you enough time to take a look, but I want you to figure out what pops out, what is loud, what jumps off the screen at you. Not where you wish you were, not what you hope is going to be, but where you're at right now. And that is an important distinction because if we're going to use this to be descriptive about what you feel now, where you're at now, it cannot be a projection of what you hope to be in the future. We're going to use this as an opportunity to be honest, to be radically honest with yourself about where you are, whether that's good or bad. I don't even like using those terms, but whatever it is that you're feeling, charged positively or negatively, that you're able to be honest and be real with yourself, because that is a part of the process. You have to be honest and real with you so that you can make up a plan, so that you can see now the next step is to take a look. Where do you want to be? So now we know with honesty where you are, but where do you desire to be? What is the next step? And that is how we come up with therapeutic goals. That's how we come up with coaching goals, or one of the approaches to doing that. I know how I feel now, and I know this is how I would like to feel. What action steps are attached to that? What people, places, and things are attached to that? And what might be keeping you stuck? So, as you look at your reality, as you're honest about your current circumstances, your current thoughts, and current feelings as they are described on this sheet, you will be able to then think to yourself, is this how I want to remain? Is this how I want to continue to live? Is this how I want to continue to feel? And when we could start naming it, you could decide if you're going to claim it or reject it, because our emotions are not in control of us. We get to manage them. So if there is an emotion that is living and breathing in your life every single day, on the daily, you do not like the way you feel. When we start to name it, now you can either claim it as being your truth and continue to walk with that feeling every single day, or reject it. Reject it, speak against it, pray against it, meditate against it, talk against it, cast down imaginations that exist with it. You do not have to carry it with you as a burden, as a reality. You get to challenge these feelings because feelings are not facts. I hope that you have heard that before from me or somebody else, but feelings are not facts, and you do not have to live by them. Simply because a feeling has been there does not mean that it needs to persist, that it must continue. Our feelings are valid, and it's important to acknowledge the truthfulness of where we are and what we feel right now in this moment from day to day. But what we cannot do is allow it to take control, be in the driver's seat, guide or direct our decision making about our life steps or our relationships, because they are not facts. Although they are valid and although they should be honored and although they should be acknowledged, they should not be in control because it is not always based on facts. And when it is based on facts, let's say, for example, you feel anxious. Now, I don't even know if that's here, right? I'm looking around. But let's say you feel discouraged and you feel helpless. Right? Let's take a look. That's along this purple side with scared in the middle. Let's say as an example, you feel helpless or discouraged. Okay, so now we get to attach that to a life event. We get to attach that to a person, a relationship, a circumstance, a truth about your life. If it is based in truth, what is the situation? What is the person, place, or thing that's attached to that? And this is how we establish your next steps, because these feelings are going to require action to bring some change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Can I get an amen to that? If nothing changes, nothing changes. So, if we are going to simply identify these things just so that we can build awareness, that is not enough. And that is not the full definition of emotional intelligence. Thank you so much for your comment. I'm glad this resonates. I'm so glad this resonates. But this here is how we come up with an action plan. This is how you empower yourself and you remind yourself of the influence and the power and importance of decision in your life. If you don't like the way something is structured in your day to day, you get to change that. You have full permission to change that. You have every right to change that. And you also have full responsibility to change it, because it is not up to anyone else. So as we look here, and let's say, as the example again, that you feel helpless and discouraged. And those are two of the words that came up in the exercise as I was asking you about, what the five descriptors are of how you feel about your life circumstances and relationships current day. If you're feeling helpless and discouraged and it's tied directly to something, let's say it's your living environment. I don't like where I live. Every time I wake up, I just feel like I can't change my situation. I feel discouraged because of the people I'm around. Oh, we need to make an action plan then. Okay, let's look at the obstacles. Why are you still there? Why do you still live amongst people? For some, it's age. For others, it's resources. All right, then let's make a plan. And this is how, as a coach and as a therapist, I step in. If you don't like something and you know it needs to change, let's be real about that. Let's take a look, write down all the obstacles. What is getting in the way? What's keeping you from making changes? What have you tried before and why didn't that work? And now let's get ourselves a new plan. Let's activate that plan. Let's execute the plan. And you have accountability and you have compassion and you have somebody to encourage you through that process. All of this work stemming from a practice of emotional intelligence, starting with the awareness of how you feel. Because sometimes life can come at you so fast and be so overwhelming that you don't even know what you feel, why you feel it, and what it's attached to. Because you know what? Michaiah, if I'm being honest, there's just too much going on and I can't figure it out. Well, this is the tool that will help you figure it out. When you think about the words that pop off of the screen at you, the top 5 words that describe your life, your relationships, how you feel about yourself, then you'll be able to ask those very same questions that I just posed to you. Are those feelings that pop out attached to a person, a place, or a thing? And what is stopping you? What has been a hindrance or an obstacle to keep you from making change in that life area? Now let's map it out. Now let's remind yourself of how powerful you are, the power of decision, the power of choice, the power of understanding that you are never stuck and you don't have to stay in any situation or in anyone's face that keeps you feeling a way that you don't want to feel. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move to another example. And if you feel confident enough, if you feel, secure enough, put some of how you've been feeling in the comments and we can work with some of those as examples as well. I would love to do that with you. So now, let's get into this. The difference between sad and mad. Can we talk about that? Because some folks use them interchangeably. Well, I'm mad because really I'm sad. Mad is just what comes out and what everybody sees, but really underneath it all, I'm sad. Or I'm sad because I'm so mad and I don't know what to do about it. And they're used interchangeably, but they're vastly different. And here's where we're going to get the language for some of those things. Let's first take a look at, oh man, frustrated. I wonder, does that fall under? It does. It falls under mad. So let's look at that first. Thank you so much for your comment. Mad. When I look at mad and then I see frustrated, the key to understanding all of what is underneath this mad category, it requires different care and different steps than those in the sad category. Mad and everything that it comes with requires action. If you're looking at sad, that requires compassion, gentleness, patience, soothing, calm, self-care. You can't self-care your way out of mad. You can't self-care your way out of frustrated. You can't compassion your way out of frustrated. What it takes when you're in the mad category and with any of this array of diversity, color, texture, and tone, what it takes to address mad, frustrated, anger, rage, critical, skeptical, irritated, jealous, selfish, hurt, hostile. It takes action. I need somebody to really think this through. How many times have you been mad and someone tried to come and console you? It don't work. It doesn't work because mad and sad are not the same. It doesn't work because mad and all that it comes with and all of its different language requires taking action. And for those of you who have been told that you don't have the right to feel angry or that anger is a bad emotion or anger is not a primary emotion or whatever misinformation you've gotten about anger, let me tell you something. When you get mad enough, when you are enraged enough, when you are frustrated enough, when you are irritated enough, that is when change happens. That is when rock bottom happens. That is when explosivity happens. That is when some catalyst to change takes place. And if we know anything about, biology, about nature, I know a little about a lot. So let's think about even the formation of pearls, for example, right? You got your oyster. I don't even know if I'm doing all this right. It's late. My brain, help me, y'all. But we have our oyster, and then in comes a grain of sand or a few grains of sand, and it's an irritant. It's an irritant that gets the inside of that oyster frustrated. And guess what? It takes action to get rid of that irritant. And then what do we have at the end of that process? Pearls. You have something very precious because of the mucus that's formed around that sand. And now you have the birth of a pearl. And pearls are expensive, not the fake ones, not the fake ones you're going to find at the beauty supply store. But I'm talking about the real ones that you're going to grab up at Tiffany's or whatever fine jewelry establishment you like to go to. Okay. The irritant is what causes something beautiful to be birthed out. Our emotions are very similar to that. When something comes to irritate, frustrate, cause you anger, cause you to be hostile, cause you to feel enraged or critical, it's because there is some action that has to be taken. And even jealousy gets a bad rep as an emotion, but it indicates to us. Jealousy is important, just like everything else in this mad category. It is an indicator. It sends you a signal that whatever you're jealous about, there is a value or a virtue or a characteristic in something else or someone else that you value. Can I say that again? It indicates to us, jealousy indicates to us that there is a virtue, there is a value, there is a character, there is something within a person or a thing. And we're jealous because it is also important to us, and we're engaging in some form of comparison. And that is what's birthing contention. I need someone to hear this. We don't have to get caught up in judging ourselves, the moral judgment of whether it's good or bad to feel jealous. Let's just notice what it's indicating to us, what it's trying to teach us. Jealousy is teaching. And I had to really settle myself into this full transparency, full disclosure. Even now, I might look at some of my colleagues and all the things that they've accomplished, New York Times bestsellers and selling out conferences and becoming traveling therapists, and we might have started at the same time, and I'm watching their social medias blow up and watching their engagement blow up. And guess what? All it did was indicate to me that some of those same desires inside of me have not yet been realized, but I can continue to do that work. What I realize is that what I'm seeing, maybe there's some sense of jealousy because I have a vision for myself that is very similar that has not yet been realized. There is some character of discipline, of stick to itiveness, of consistency that they've exhibited that maybe I have not yet gotten to. So the jealousy for me indicated some area where maybe I'm roadblocked, maybe there's a blind spot, maybe there's something that I could be working on because I know where I'm going. I just haven't gotten there yet. And there's a little bit more of a ways to go of character development and discipline to get me to these spaces where I see other people flourishing. Let's use a more common example. Well, that's pretty common as well, especially in social media spaces. When you see someone blow up, when you see the opportunities come to them, when you see like, and it's like, well, dag, why am I not there? Take a look at that. Take a look at it. Be prayerful about it. Meditate on it. What is this jealousy trying to teach me? And that's the same thing that any of these feelings on the feelings wheel can do. Once you identify what the feeling is and you do so successfully, you like, oh, you got your finger on the pulse of it. And you know that you know this is what I'm feeling. Now that I've seen it and now I've looked it up, Webster's dictionary, Google search away. I know this is how I'm feeling. Oh, now I can see, what is this feeling teaching me? What can I attach it to? And then how can I take action? Those are all the questions that come from it. So the jealousy, yes, we get to look at that. But even with it can indicate insecurities within you, ways that you still can heal, that you still might have a bit of ways to go with your self-love journey or self-respect journey. Okay, you know someone who implements badass boundaries. They got some iron claw boundaries. They live a life of peace and you are jealous of that. Dag, why can't I have a life like that? It can be an indicator to you that perhaps you got to slow your life down. Perhaps you're grinding too much and you can't experience that peace. Perhaps you can implement some boundaries and learn how to advocate for yourself and speak up. Do we see how jealousy can be a teacher? It can be a teacher, but what it's going to take is not someone to speak affirmatively to you. It's not going to take someone being gentle with you. What jealousy requires is action, is introspection, is reflection, and doing something about what it's teaching you. The same thing with frustrated. What are you frustrated about? Let's get to the bottom. Let's link that to something. What are we frustrated about? Is it frustration about your finances? Okay, what can we do about it? Is there more learning that has to be done? Is there more saving that has to be done? Is there responsibility within managing a budget that has to be done to get you unstuck, unfrustrated? What is it teaching you? What is it pointing toward that you could take some action about? The same thing with rage. And this is where I'll leave mad alone. But rage, when I speak to those who, for example, work within social justice, people who have written books, people who protest, people who are civically engaged, global citizens, even, right? When you are enraged by something, by some injustice, it is not something that you should dilute. It can be an indicator to you that you're on the right track, that there is something that you are passionate about, that there is some issue, some theme, some world event, or some marginalized population that you feel needs advocacy. That's going to take change. It's going to take your action because you see something and are enraged by something, angered by something, and it's requiring that you do something about it. I said I was going to leave it alone, but I'm not, because we got to, as a relationship specialist and a relationship scientist, I got to go here. If you are frustrated about a relationship, my goodness, this is something I deal with all the time. If you are frustrated about a relationship, child, there's something that needs to change about that relationship. It's not going to be, I love you. I love you. I love you. We're going to make it work. It's not the empty promises. It's not the words of affirmation. It's not even physical touch that's going to get you unfrustrated. There are some conversations that need to happen, and there's some changes that need to be made so that you are no longer frustrated about that relationship. And you know where it starts? Right here with this chart, ladies and gentlemen. It starts right here with this chart because it takes honesty and it takes being real to communicate how you're feeling. If your partner asks you, "What's up? What's wrong? You seem distant. You seem, oh, it's all right. I'm just a little sad." Really? Is that the case? Or are you mad as hell? Are you frustrated? Are you furious? Are you irritated with something that is going on in the relationship? When we start to look at a chart like this, we can pick out what feels true for us, what resonates within us, so that we can give a voice to the pain, give a voice to the problem, give a voice to our feelings so that something can be done about it. Action can be taken, and you have the potential for a different outcome. But without going through these steps first, without figuring out how you feel and pointing to it, labeling it properly, identifying it, let's name this thing. Without doing that, there is no potential for change. If you're too busy playing like nothing is wrong, there is no potential for change if you're using training wheel words and not going into the full depth of how you truly feel. This gives us a starting point to be honest first with ourselves and then honest with the people around us so that we can salvage the relationships, so that we can mend relationships, so that we can heal the relationships. And whether that's a relationship with you or that extends out to relationship with others, this is a phenomenal starting point. This is why I stand behind it. I will die on this hill. You hear me? I will use this with every single client I come in touch with because it is effective. It is effective. The next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time you feel down, depressed, confused, not sure how you even feel, pop this bad boy out and see what jumps out to you. Go through it color by color, layer by layer, and see where you're at. And I guarantee you, if you could sit with that long enough and ask yourself, who is attached to this feeling? What circumstances attached to this feeling? What memory is attached to this feeling? That's going to show you where your healing is. That's going to show you what you got to do next. And now comes courageousness to actually follow a plan. Once you know better, now there's some accountability that you got to do something better. You got to do something in relationship to what you just learned about yourself. So now this is the part where awareness meets action. And that's on the house. Awareness at some point must meet action if you want a different outcome. If you don't want those cycles to continue, the awareness, the identification, the processing, it's got to meet the action. Rubber got to meet the road. If you want to get some mileage, you got to press the gas. You got to see some traction. The only way to do that is to take the action that is needed. The awareness piece of emotional intelligence means nothing if there isn't the follow through to execute a plan once you figured out what that feeling is attached to or in response to. And if I don't want to feel that way anymore, if I don't like that, I get to do something about it. And similarly, for the things that are on the bottom of this chart, excited and daring and creative, aware, delightful. If we're feeling confident and cheerful and proud, healthy pride, of course, respected and hopeful. If we're feeling loving, trusting, serene, and relaxed, we don't want to sabotage those things. So we also can place ourselves in a life of gratitude if we can take a look at what people, places, and things are associated with what's on the bottom part of this chart. I spent a lot of time talking about what's on the top because it is important. We went through mad and all those things that it's associated with. All that verbiage that requires action. Sad and all that it's associated with may need compassion and empathy, patience and grace. We didn't talk about scared so much, but I promise you that scared work, we got to figure out what you're afraid of. Being rejected, foolish. That's when you do the deep digging to see in your memory bank, where did those things come from? Whose voice is that? Who told you to be afraid? Who told you to feel insecure? What are you comparing yourself against? Why are you embarrassed that you're not perfect? What makes you feel insignificant in comparison to what? That's where the questions really come up about, and doing the digging to see, where did all of this start? Where did this pattern of questioning yourself start, where you feel discouraged or rejected or helpless or insecure and anxious? Where did that start and what is it attached to, so that you can figure out your next steps? But that takes a lot more digging, right? Usually mad is right in front of you. Usually sad is right in front of you. It is not too far off. You don't have to reach too far back to figure out what you're sad about. But scared, that may come with some core beliefs about what you believe about the world. The world is a scary place. People can't be trusted. I don't trust myself to make decisions, so I'm anxious about everything, every move that I make. That's going to take some digging. That's going to take some serious reflection to figure out, what are the core beliefs that are attached to keeping this scared feeling alive? What's fueling my fear? And what is my fear keeping me from being able to do? Man, this feels good to me. I don't know how y'all feeling, but I feel encouraged by sharing this with you. But now let's transition and focus our attention to the bottom of this chart here, right? At the bottom of the chart, these are the things that we don't want to sabotage. So if there are people, places, and things that are attached to you feeling this way, what we want to do is tell those folks. And maybe this could be a homework assignment for you. Think about those people that bring these feelings alive in you, that really allow these feelings to thrive when you're in their presence, when you talk to them, when they send you a text, when they send you a meme, when they send you a reel on Instagram, whatever it is, right? Those more positive feelings, the feelings that make you feel alive, that add and enrich your life. Let's give a call. Let's send a text message. Let's say thank you. And not just thank you, but the secret sauce to a great compliment is being specific. When you could be specific with a compliment, thank you for being so thoughtful with me. It made me feel trusting of you. Do you see? I just threw two of those nice little peaceful words in there. Let's point out how someone contributes to your feeling. Mm, the way that they treated you, and being specific, that's an authentic compliment. That's a sincere, genuine compliment when you could point out exactly what it is that they did that contributed to you feeling a certain way. Please notice that I have not used any language that says a person made me feel this way. I don't use that language. A person does not have the power. Okay, if you were giving people that power to make you feel a way, that's wild and crazy. And we got some work to do. You could book a session. But let's reframe this, right? A person contributes to the way that you feel. my marriage contributes to me feeling loving and nurturing and trusting. It's important. It's a significant contribution, but can't nobody make me feel that way. Can't nobody make me angry. The circumstance, I responded to it angry. What came up for me was anger. But to say that someone makes you feel anything is giving way too much to that party. Way too much. You made me so mad. Wait a minute. What happened to emotional regulation? What happened to self-soothing? What happened to getting yourself together, managing yourself before you manage the relationship? Now, can they do something that's going to stir up feelings in you? Absolutely. You still get to choose how you're going to feel about it, how you're going to perceive it, and how you're going to respond to it. That is your choice. Are you going to brew in those feelings? Are you going to let those feelings escalate? Or are you going to manage them, label them, check out what's going on with you, and then be able to effectively communicate through them or when it is the right time? That's up to us. That's up to us. And if I notice that my experience of you has me feeling a type of way, I need to get away from you. Do you make me feel that? No, but every time I experience you, something happens inside of me that I don't like. And I get to take action about that. I get to do something in response to that. I get to make a plan and follow through. But for those people that when you experience them, you're stimulated, and that could be sexually or otherwise, whatever, take it how you feel it. If you experience a person and you feel aware, oh, I'm aware of what my desires are. I'm aware of what my purpose is. I'm aware it wakes something up in you. I feel creative when we have a conversation. I feel like a light bulb clicked and I feel creative. Or when I'm around, I get to tap into that inner child and be silly and be playful. And I feel energetic around you. I feel confident enough to be my sexy self around you. Those are the people that we want to appreciate. That's the person that you want to share your gratitude with and share with the descriptive language of how you feel when you're in their presence, how you feel when you experience them. That type of language is going to let them know affirmatively that whether they're trying to, if they're doing it with intention, or whether this is just a part of who I am, so I didn't even realize I was doing all of that, I ain't even realize you was feeling all of that, whether they're doing it intentionally or not, you're going to be able to let them know it's something that you appreciate, and the likelihood that they continue to do what they do in your life is going to be increased. When you offer praise or acknowledgement to someone with specificity about what they have done to contribute to your life, to add to the experience of them, right? How you experience them, when they add to that, and it helps you and it supports you and it nurtures you. It does something on the inside of you. When you tell them that and offer them affirmation and offer them praise about it, they are going to be more likely to repeat those behaviors, to repeat being who they are, to maintain that presence in your life, to keep bringing you that same spirit, that same energy. They're going to continue to make those deposits because they know, oh, I understand. I understand my contribution. I understand what I'm bringing to the table. I understand what I'm interjecting. I understand what I'm offering up. And if I have more of that to give, I will keep giving it, because now I know that when I am this way, the effect that it has on my friend, on my spouse, on my loved one, is that they feel daring, is that they feel confident, is that they feel cheerful, or they feel intelligent, they feel like they're worthwhile. Don't we all want to have that impact on other people? Don't we all want to pour into folks in such a way that they feel responsive and relaxed, and they feel intimately connected, that they feel content? They're no longer striving to become someone else or be someone else or do something else, that they know that just who they are is enough because of the presence that we have. I know that's how I aim to be. So if you have those people in your life that do that for you, Let's not lose those relationships. This is exercise isn't all about figuring out the bad and making an action plan in response to what's wrong. This exercise is also an exercise of gratitude and creating a culture of appreciation in your life and in your relationships. So if there is a person who, when they are around in your presence and you feel joyful, you feel powerful, you feel peaceful, let's acknowledge that. Let's give acknowledgement where acknowledgement is due. Let's give praise where praise is due. Let's share that with someone that we love, that we honor, that we cherish, and tell them why we cherish them. This is how you assess the nature of a relationship. Where do you land when you think about them? When you think about the relationship, when you think about how things have progressed over time, in time, through time with them, where do you land on this chart? And if overwhelmingly your feelings and interpretation and perspective about that relationship lives on the top half of this chart, you know that there's some action, some changes need to be made immediately. And if you live here on the bottom half of this chart, then there's some gratitude, there's some appreciation, there's some praise to God that you could give for having folks in your life and having circumstances in your life and having resources in your life that contribute to you feeling this way. And that's how you know what to honor. That's how you know what to continue and what relationships need to be fed and fueled so that they can keep lasting and keep existing as they are. That's how you know what to cultivate and grow in your life and what you need to cut. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, feedback. I welcome it all. We have a few moments to just, chop it up together before I call this thing, a night, before I call it a night. I'd love to hear any feedback that you have or any questions that you have about the chart, about emotional intelligence, anything that was said. I'd love to hear your questions. If you would like to find this particular chart, let's see. I can share. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I can share where I got it from. Let's see. I'm going to stop the sharing. Hey, I'm back. I'm going to stop the sharing and I am going to look for the link so I can drop it in the chat. And while you're thinking about any of the questions that you might have, you go ahead. You go ahead and think and type and let me know so that I can answer your questions. Okay. The link for the feelings wheel is in the chat. I know that it says children and family. This is for all relationships. This is very easy to understand. So the breakdown is really great, but it's for more than just children, right? It's for all of us. So that picture, it's from actually the Gottman Institute, which is a marriage studies institute located in Seattle. John and Judy Gottman are two of the biggest research leaders when it comes to marriage therapy, research-based, evidence-based principles to make marriage work. They're phenomenal. And that is their feelings wheel that we were just looking at. So that's a Gottman Institute feelings wheel. And many people use it, reuse it. I've used it on this YouTube, and the childrenandfamily.org used it on their website, and that's where I collected it from. Okay. That was amazing. I love the distinction between the top and the bottom feelings, changes needing to be made for the top and being grateful for the bottom. Yes, I hope to be on the bottom more often. Absolutely. And that is where, if you have a coach or if you have a therapist, you can actually bring this to them and say, I know we talked about my past. I know we talked about where I am, but I really do want to focus more on solution focused therapy. That's what we're talking about. Solution focused therapy is forward thinking. I know what my problems are. I've talked about them exhaustively. I feel those feelings every day. But now I want to think about what is a solution that I could come to so that I could get to the feelings that I really want to experience. What are the steps, right? Solution focused therapy. Your therapist shared this with you. Yes. And you can reflect on it more. There's so many exercises that can be done with this chart. And I'm so glad you already have experience with the chart. It's now, how do you use it? Just like any other tool, right? If you have a hammer, You hammer away, use that one side of the hammer, but how many of us actually flip it over and use that other side to take nails out? We have to know, fully how to use a tool so that we can see its best benefits. So I hope that, this is something that you can take away and use for all of you who are watching, that this is something that you can implement differently. Oh, wow. I knew that my awareness of feelings was important, but I didn't know how that could contribute to a solution focused approach in my life and how to assess relationships by using this, or how to speak life to myself and know where to invest in the things that are working well as a tool for appreciation and gratitude. So I'm glad that it hit home for you and that you'll be able to use this. In closing, I do have a few things to invite you to. So, this is a series that is going to happen continually. This was not just a one hit and quit situation. I am going to launch quite a few of these life live streams, and I will be, letting you know a week or two in advance when they come, at least one a quarter, maybe once a month. I'll see what the feedback looks like after this one is over. But please, I invite you to share this link once it is live on my channel. If you found something useful and helpful, to share this out with people who would benefit from having this conversation, from hearing this conversation, that you feel like it would be, a supplement to their healing and to their wellness. Please do share this link, this broadcast with them. But there are many more to follow. I may do some more in emotional intelligence, but I really wanted to take a look at the common themes that I deal with in individual therapy, individual coaching, and my couple sessions as well, and speak to those most common themes that are recurring with folks that I've seen through the years, and to offer myself and my experience as a resource so that you all can, have the tools that you need. Again, because not everyone is going to be able to work with me one on one. I don't have the time in the day to work with everyone that I want to work with. So I'm offering myself as a resource so that you can be able to continue your wellness journey, continue your healing journey, and continue to pour into your relationship with yourself and with others. So I will definitely keep you posted. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you get notified of when new videos are up and when my new live streams are coming out, as well as being able to readily share those things. Um, what else is coming up? I do have a Facebook group. Now, I've been doing some research. I'm like, what does the group want? How can the group be a different community than every other social media platform I'm on? I would absolutely love it if you could join me there. I'll be sharing more resources like this, sharing statistics, sharing my research once my semester starts back up, May 15th. I'll be sharing what I learned in class, because why not? I think that it's so helpful to have those things broken down and make it everyday conversation, not just conversations that happen in classrooms where you have to pay thousands of dollars per credit. So I'll be sharing what I'm learning in those classrooms at Liberty University online. Join that group. It is called the Life Group. It's a private group, so you do have to ask for permission to join the group. You do have to agree to the guidelines, the community guidelines in the group. But there's no fee, there's no subscription, there's no nothing. You just have to ask to join, and I'll let you join as long as you consent to the guidelines and give me your email address. Just let me know who you are. The Facebook group is called the Life Group. So you can search for it and it will populate. You just won't be able to see what's in there until you ask to join. So I'm inviting you to find that and join me over there on that community. So we got subscribing to the YouTube, sharing this video once it's live, joining me on the Facebook group. The Life Group is what it's called. And last but not least, remember I opened and I told you what I do, who I am. I am an author. I was about to say devotional. Lord, are you speaking to me? You want me to write a devotional? No, the mental health guided journal that I wrote called It's Personal. I am going to launch a support group, an intimate support group. Sorry, men, is for women only for this one. I'm going to do some men's groups as well. 5 weeks. 5 weeks. We'll be meeting every single week for an hour and a half. It's going to be phenomenal. I didn't even tell anybody about this yet. I'm going to post it tomorrow, but I wanted to reserve this space. This is probably going to be where I debut, when I'm going to do small groups, because I'm really, listen, I don't want it to be over 10 people. 15, maybe 20 the max, but we're going to be meeting virtually in a private Zoom room. We're going to have sessions just like this, but it's going to be the group setting. We're going to talk about, some themes that I wrote about in the journal. So you'll get a copy of the journal for free. You're going to walk through the chapters with me. I'm going to tell you the behind the scenes of how I even came up with those questions, give you some backstory, and then we're going to talk. We're going to really talk through these things as a group and use that community as a healing support group. So it's going to be at a cost, of course, because now this is weekly. This is something that is a service. So it will be just $100 a session. Is that okay? I think that is phenomenal. $100 a session. You're not gonna get me for anything less than that. So it is my most affordable service when I'm meeting with groups. $100 per session. We're gonna lump those payments together. So for just $500, you get 5 weeks of dynamic sessions. Meet some amazing, phenomenal women. Change your life. Get your book. Have the journal to continue to work on even when the group is done. I think it's great. So I'm going to post that tomorrow. Right now, all you need to do, I'm going to keep this so simple. I'm not even doing a registration because I do want to filter who's in the group. I don't want just anybody to be able to be in the group. How about that? I want to be able to talk to you. So we're going to have a consultation. I'm going to figure out what your goals are, and I'm designing the group based on who's in it. Is that all right? Is that all right? So it's a personalized group experience and it is exclusive. Everybody is not invited. So I would like for you to email me. Here we go. I'm going to put it here. Michaiah Life Services at gmail.com. Here we go. It is in the chat, but it's also on my website. Everything is consistent. Michaiah.life on everything. My website is Michaiah.life. My Instagram is Michaiah.life. My TikTok is Michaiah.life. Just put a Michaiah.life on it and you're going to find me. Okay. So please go to the website if you need to email me, or you could copy and paste it from the chat right here. Michaiah Life Services at gmail.com, or go to Michaiah.life, my website, to be able to inbox me. But when you just say, I want to join this support group, I'm going to give you a call. And we're going to talk, and we'll talk about what you need, and we'll talk about what you want, and we'll talk about where you're at. And I'll figure out, how do I design this group in such a way that every single woman that is there is touched, is informed, feels more confident. So this is all about identity work. This is all about self-love. This is about self-discovery. Come on, man. I'm just excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for just $100 a session. Total $500. We gonna get to work. And I'm gonna be doing this often, but probably just once a quarter. So you need to get in where you fit in. Do it now because it's gonna fill up fast. So email me, please, please, and thank you. I look forward to connecting with you on social media platforms. I have a few things that I'm looking forward to doing in person, probably in New York, but I am so excited about launching this Life Livestream series on YouTube. I will see you again soon and very soon. I will keep you posted on all my social media platforms when the next one is going to be. But I thank you so much for your time, especially to those who are watching live. I appreciate you so much. And those of you who thought it not robbery to watch the replay, thank you as well. Please make sure, if you're watching the replay, that you write in the comments where you're from, what you're getting from this series, things that are takeaways for you. I'd love to hear from you, even though I did not engage with you in real time. But I thank you, all of you, for your time, for your evening, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great night, everyone.